Yeah, so I've got my hydroponic light on. I'm just like opening some flowers. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll just pan around and show you. So that's basically the situation. And yeah, I thought the light was kind of interesting. I mean, I do this sometimes. I just use the light to either boost houseplants or just open some flowers. So yeah, hoping that this light will boost the flowers. But I just thought, while I've got the light open, I'll just record a video about the benefits of teaching in China, the main benefits of teaching in China. So for me, I guess the main benefit of working in China is that I can actually get work. So that was like the number one priority, because when I came back from Korea, I was out of work, and I was like, I'll make a video about that, like why I left Korea one day. But I was out of work and I just needed to find a job, so I was applying, and I started applying for jobs in China, and I eventually got a job at an agency, working at a university via the agency. So you're not officially working for the university. You're working at the university. You're doing that job, but you're not officially a university a university teacher. And so that was cool, like, but that was tough because the first, like, oh, that's pretty interesting. The green, the green on my arm. It's pretty cool, pretty wild. And so yeah, that was good. But I remember I didn't get paid in the holidays. So when the winter came around, I was, like left without any money basically, and so I had to start doing some part-time work. By then, I'd made a couple of friends, so it was okay. But so they were able to help me get some work, and I was just able to slowly start getting some work. But yeah, and then so that's the number one benefit, like without getting into like my job history too much. But the number one benefit is I could get a job in China. Now, other benefits since I've come to China, the Chinese people, they're friendly, like they're kind to foreigners. They're very generous in terms of how they treat people who aren't from their country, especially on a surface level. Like you'll never have any real major difficulties unless you're totally crazy. It's pretty easy to just start living here and start working here. They'll always try to help you, and they're very hospitable, very friendly people. If you're walking on the street, somebody might obviously say, "Oh, there's a foreigner" or something like that. It sounds like I'm in 1998, doesn't it? Like talking about how Chinese people are. There's a lot of videos about that, but I just want to reiterate from my experience that they might say, "Oh, he's a foreigner," but they'll never like accost you or confront you in a public place or something. Usually, it's very uncommon. So that's great. Number three, I would say, is the work environment. Um, Chinese people, Chinese employers in general, they're not looking for problems. They're looking for consistency. They're looking for you to show up. They're looking for you to try, and they're looking for you to like not cause waves. Like if you're someone who can just go to work, go home, that kind of thing. If you're not looking to politic your way to the top or whatever, it's a very comfortable work environment, I would say. So that's, I guess, related to Chinese culture. The third thing, I guess, I should have covered earlier because in sequence, but when you do move to another country, you can just totally get away from whatever the social scene or whatever the environment you're in might have been. So for me, it was pretty good. I mean, I had a few friends and I was pretty happy and whatever. But just to be able to totally break from that is very liberating, and that's a huge benefit of teaching overseas. It's a huge benefit. Another benefit I would say is just socially. Like, if I had stayed in Australia doing the work that I was doing, um, I mean, look, I'm not a social climber or anything like that, but it's still interesting to broaden your social horizon. So, like, I got to meet the CEO of Airbus. Briefly, I got to meet him, the CEO of Airbus in China. Um, yeah, was it worldwide? I'm not sure. I think it was just China. But wow, like I've met a few people like that, and that's pretty cool. Like I've met a lot of business people, a lot of professors, other teachers, really interesting people, people who had really interesting careers in their own countries, and they've decided to become teachers. all of these different foreigners that if I had stayed in Australia, I mean, I would have met a few people like that, but um, as a foreigner, you get to meet so many different people in a foreign country. It's really interesting, and that applies to all foreigners. Like if you're an American or if you're a French person or if you're whatever, I mean, you leave your country and you meet so many more interesting people. So that's pretty cool, you know. But I miss my friends from back home, but but it's pretty cool to be like, oh yeah, I met someone who did that job, or I met a pilot. I mean, I know a few pilots. A pilot gave me this light actually. You know, he had to leave China, and he said, well, you can have some things that you want. And I thought, well, that's cool, you know. So he gave me the light. So but I'll give it back to him if he comes back. And if he's watching this, I just want him to know that, yeah, 90% of the things I took over, I'll be returning if you do come back, man. For sure. Um, but yeah, so that's a benefit. And then another benefit I would say is just like in terms of like learning new skills. So before I was an English teacher, I was pretty nervous about talking in front of people. Like I was pretty shy about that, and it actually did me a lot of disservice as a university student, because when I had to give presentations and stuff like that, any presentations, any public speaking, I was nearly crying, you know, and I was just way too nervous. So I mean, yeah, I mean that's who I was. Now, is that normal? It's probably not normal, but that's who I was. Coming to China and having so much experience talking to people, I have been able to like actually gain confidence, and I wouldn't be afraid to speak to a large group of people now. Like I would be able to do that. I mean, wow, that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Um, I've been able to learn new skills. Like I learned how to ride a motorbike. I learned how to do a few different things, and also like language. Like my Chinese isn't amazing. It's not great. Like I don't have the perfectly fluent Chinese, but even just knowing a little bit, like to me, it's like so exciting because I just don't know anyone from my social circle who can speak a little bit of Chinese. So even having just a little bit of Chinese and whatever, it's really exciting, and you just get that through day to day life. Like you just get that opportunity to like practice your Chinese and even though I haven't like studied as consistently as I probably should have, I've definitely like always had a positive attitude to it. Like I've never been like, oh, you know, I don't want to learn Chinese. Like Chinese is just rubbish. I've never had that attitude at all, ever. So when I am exposed to a new word, um, yeah, like I try to remember it. The other another benefit I would say is just like I don't want to get too specifically into it. I mean, this doesn't necessarily apply to me. Actually, it doesn't apply to me at all. Actually, but there's not really any drugs in China. Like if you're struggling with drugs or you're into a drug scene or something like that, if you come to China, you know, like you're just giving that up. And I've met a couple of people who've said, look, I had a cocaine habit, or I was right into ecstasy, or whatever it was, crystal meth, whatever, and they came to China, and you know they couldn't get it. They weren't trying to get it. They didn't have it anymore. So that can be a huge benefit too. Um, Now there's negatives as well. Like I'll make another video about that. There's negatives to moving to another country and teaching English. Do I generally feel that coming to China has made my life better? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't have met my wife. I've, you know, I haven't got a Centrelink payment in nearly. Well, I mean, Centrelink might be watching this, but I haven't got a Centrelink payment in nearly 8 years, and that to me is like a huge achievement. You know, like I feel really happy about that. No unemployment benefits. I've had consistent work for like, you know, approaching 10 years. And yeah, I feel really, really proud of that. Like to me, that's a real accomplishment. And yeah, so there's all those different benefits, but obviously you've got to weigh it up in your own mind and just make your own decision. But yeah, it's pretty much all I wanted to say. And yeah, I just thought I'd show this trippy, like wild kind of light and make a video about the benefits of teaching in China. Okay, thank you.